What's up? So real quick, in this video you are about to see, it is split into two parts because in the midst of shooting our very first interview, the camera stopped recording because my memory card ran out of space, and I did not see that it had ran out of space. So we were just sitting there talking, finished it, and realized that hey, only a little bit of it got recorded. So what we did was Sierra, which is my guest, she wants to start like practicing interviewing and kind of doing some of the things along the same lines. So I was like, hey, how about you practice on me? And so we talked about a different subject. So we had two different subjects and like two different angles. So yeah, I just want to let y'all know that before y'all get into the video. So yeah, enjoy. Hello, welcome to the release. I am back and I have a special guest for you guys. This is Sierra.
Hey y'all, how's it going?
So yeah, we have a topic for today. We're going to be talking about overcoming. But before we get into overcoming, can you kind of introduce yourself to the people? You don't got to go too in depth, but just a little background.
Hey everybody, my name is Sierra. I'm from Portland, Oregon, 26, mother of one, and yeah, I'm excited to be here. Never done an interview before, so this is the first for me.
Alrighty. Alright, so the question that we decided to go off today is, our jump off topic is going to be like, what is the biggest obstacle that you had to overcome in your life, do you think?
I would probably say the biggest thing I've had to overcome in general is fear. And I have like not a complicated relationship with fear, but I feel like I've held fear for like a while, or I used to hold fear like all the time. I used to let it make my decisions in a way. I don't know why I was like, growing up, I was afraid to really put myself out there. I was like afraid of rejection, and it's kind of common, growing up, because kids can be sometimes not the nicest people. And I didn't really know how to handle rejection or handle like things like abandonment, or just, you get into conflicts all the time. I didn't really know what to do. And so instead of trying to learn how to overcome that, I would like avoid conflicts, avoid handling stuff, because I didn't know how. I didn't really have anyone to teach me how to like overcome fear, I guess. So I think it's something that I'm still trying to work on, but I'm getting a lot better. And I'm learning that fear, it doesn't last forever. Eventually you're gonna get either tired of it, or you're gonna decide like, I don't want to be afraid to like be myself, and you just want to be free. And when that day comes, I feel like you got to make a decision, and if you stick to it, you can overcome it, but you got to be consistent and willing to do what you got to do to overcome that.
Okay, so what was your like fear stooped in? What did you have fear of?
I don't know. I feel like I was afraid that either I wasn't enough, or that I was too different to be accepted, I guess. Because me, I'm a little eccentric, you could say. I'm a little weird, a little corny, I wasn't really like the other kids. Like, I remember in school, most of the kids, they would go out and they would be playing, or even like in middle school, high school, most kids are hanging out with each other, socializing. And I don't really know how to talk to people that much. I was like introverted, and my mom was real traditional, so she would rather we hang out with family, or like family friends, cousins, or whatever people she knows. And so when it came to friends that I would try to like bring into my life, or go with them, or just go hang out or whatever, I don't know, I wasn't really allowed to do that, so I didn't really feel like it was any point trying to make friends. I would just find stuff to do by myself, or I don't know. People would sometimes say, oh, you're too nice, or you're weird, or you're just being corny. And they might have meant it as a joke, but I felt like I took it personal. And if I kept letting that happen, and the fear just kind of grew. I kept letting that kind of stuff happen, and I didn't like stand up for myself. And so I just had to go to fear, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you found a safe spot in being to yourself.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can kind of relate to that too as well, because growing up, like when we were younger, like I used to be very, very outgoing. Like I talked a lot. I wasn't shy, nothing like that. But it's like we used to move around a lot. So I didn't realize it was happening.
Yeah.
But I got to a point where, like, when I got to a new school, like, I would not talk at all.
Yeah. It's hard to reset down that foundation.
Yeah. I don't know if I was I think I was maybe, like, subconsciously, like, stuff get planted. Like, if I get a friend, I'm just going to lose them.
Yeah.
Like, I know I wasn't thinking like that, but, like, something had to be in there for me to just shut down and not talk and try to make new friends. Like, if people talk to me, I would talk back and stuff like that. But so now, how are you dealing with, like, how does it look today? Like, how are you dealing with that fear now? Is there still, like, a spot that you go to?
Sometimes, like, for me, I'm getting better at not allowing fear to stop me from at least trying.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll try to play it safe. Like, if I know this conversation is going to be hard, or if I know, like, I'm going to really have to, like, put myself out there, I may, like, you know, dip my little toe in it, but not be, like, fully there, because I'm not sure how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
But if I know, you know, I will succeed, or if I kind of know how it's going to turn out, I might, you know, be like, okay, you got a little fear.
It's
I can do that. Yeah, it's safe. And I'm trying to learn how not to do that anymore. Yeah. It's definitely, when it comes to communication for me, that's where a lot of the fear comes. Because, yeah, sometimes I just be rambling on, or I just, like, I be thinking in my head that I'm saying something that makes sense. But when it comes out, it's like, oh, their reaction, maybe that was weird. I should just stop.
That's another thing. It's like, that's another thing too that I dealt with, is like you trying to gauge other people's perception.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like I'm learning to just be you. It's like, because you can't read other people's mind.
Right.
And no matter what they think of you, it don't matter. Like, we were just talking about J. Cole before we got on. Like, one of his lyrics is like, what you eat don't make me, you know, and who you don't make me. Y'all know the lyric. I can't say y'all of that. But it's like, they literally, it's like I had to get into my head. Like, other people's opinions of you or what you say cannot touch you. It's like literally a thought in their head that cannot do anything to you.
Yeah.
It's literally just that.
True. For
real. It's like you have to come into a space where, and I think you also have to come into a space of being confidence too, also within yourself.
Yeah, and knowing yourself, knowing your self-worth, and knowing that even if other people don't approve what you're doing, if you already proved it, then that could be enough, I guess.
Because I notice sometimes it's like, well, I ain't gonna sit here and act like you know, but it's like sometimes I know it's like you be on your face, like something will be happening, and it's like your face just changed. You don't say nothing. Yeah. It's like the other day, well, not the other day, I think it was the first day I was here, and Jalen's birthday. So yeah, that was the first day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, they was outside running the street, and I was just looking, and I was like, your face was like, it wasn't amazed or nothing, it was just like, well, you can see stuff was on your mind. I guess I can say that.
I cannot control my facial expressions. I be forgetting.
But yeah, my advice would be just go with it.
Yeah,
just go with whatever you have to say. Even if you feel, and then another thing, sometimes we feel like maybe they won't like this, or maybe it offend them. But just that's how people change. It may not land the way you think it's gonna land.
Yeah.
You know? So another question I have for you. As we was talking about the fear part, how do your fear look when it comes to faith? Because you were saying, if you knew it'd be all right, you were gonna do it, and sometimes you just dip your toe in. But like, how does your fear work with faith? Because like, faith is just the essence of going without knowing. So.
Yeah, I feel like, and I feel like I heard this before, but fear is not it's like fear is not the absence of courage. Fear is doing it despite, or
fear is, I know what you're saying. It's like fear is not doing it without being afraid. It's going. I know what you're saying.
Doing it even though you feel afraid.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've been learning to kind of sit with the feeling, but not allow myself to get totally embrace the feeling, I guess. And part of that is like doing mindfulness and like being more aware of how I am in certain situations. Self-awareness is important. But yeah, it definitely takes a leap of faith to like overcome fear, because it's gonna be there like regardless. It's just part of the human experience. You're gonna feel fear at some point, but what you want, or like what you believe, the goal or whatever that you're trying to get to, has to mean more to you than the feeling of fear. And I feel like I'm starting to get to that place where, you know what, I may be afraid, but I want to be more connected with people. I want to be better. Like, I'm determined to be better, so I'm not gonna let this stop me. I feel it, but hey,
you gonna face it.
Yeah, I'm gonna face it.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have like anything, like a time where, do you have any memories or an experience where fear stifled you, it stopped you from doing something, and you look back and you just, why didn't I do that?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
You want to share a story, or or how did you feel in it? Like, what did it do to you? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. Let me think. That's a good story. I feel like, because when I was a kid, I wasn't that afraid. I feel like I was more okay being myself. And it wasn't really until like middle school, high school that I started to feel afraid. I mean, like, felt it more, I guess. But let me think of a good example, because there's so many. It's hard to distinguish a good moment, because I feel like I lived with it for so long that it's like kind of like everything was kind of based on the fear. But maybe as far as like when it comes to relationships, I guess, like friends or, romantic relationships, there were definitely times when I wanted to be connected with, friends, like in high school. That's the time where, being social matters. And there was a group of friends that I used to hang out with. I used to dance back then, so we had a little dance crew or whatever. And I remember one time, this may be a corny one, but there was a talent show at school going on, and I really wanted to put myself out there, be like, you got served,
Yeah.
I was really into hip hop, crumping. I wanted to be out there, and I had these auditions at the school, and I tried to get people to join. There was only like 2 people that came, and they were all right. They tried their best. I think though I didn't really try that hard to put myself out there as far as a talent show, just because there was going to be a lot of people looking at me, and I was just really insecure. So I ended up just like quitting after the auditions. I was like, okay, I'll let you guys know when I'm gonna call you. And then I just was like, nobody showed up. I'm just not gonna. They probably didn't want to come anyway. You kind of talk yourself out of it, like, oh, they probably thought I wasn't good enough or whatever. And that's the thing. I feel like I know kind of what fear sounds like by now. Like, I know when I'm afraid, when I start saying things like, oh, I can't do this, or I feel like I'm not, or something like that. And when I start talking like that, I'm like, okay, I must be afraid. Let me talk myself through this and try to not let this sit with me, because I know how it's going to be interacting.
Yeah. You don't kind of let it be your leader.
Yeah.
In a sense. And fear is very strong. And then I kind of can connect to that too, because a lot of times my fear was like the biggest things I regret when it comes to my fear of being afraid is like not talking to people. It's like, man, I should have said something to them, or I should have did this. I should have said, but you'd be like so I don't know. It's weird. It seems so simple.
Like, why am I afraid?
It's just talking to somebody. Something so simple, and it's like a big mountain in front of you.
Yeah, it's like, what if this happened, or what if? Okay,
yeah, and it's just like all you have to do is just go say, "Hey," like start a conversation.
Yeah, and you find it. Usually, it's usually not as bad as you think it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, once I started seeing, like, when I would start to address fear and, like, overcome it in little situations, I was like, oh, that was all right. I guess maybe I could do that again. You just got to have that one time, that starter. Get you started.
Build it up.
Yeah.
Gain confidence as well, too.
Yeah. Just build it. Anything can be built. You just got to start. And it doesn't have to be a big fear that you conquer at first. It could be like, oh, I'm gonna say hi to that person that I've never talked to. I'm gonna go say hi to 2 people the next day, and then 3 people.
Exactly.
Yeah. Little by little.
It's crazy. And then I'm sitting here.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this show, The Release. Welcome to The Release. I have here.
No, you're supposed to be practicing your show.
Oh, what? Okay. Over my show.
Ideas. You don't gotta have a name, just the.
Alright. And take 2. What's good, everybody? I am Sierra, straight from Portland, also known as Miss Education on Instagram. And today we are here to talk about overcoming. We are here to talk about overcoming. If you guys know of any, or not know of any, but if you guys have any challenges that you are currently facing or have faced in the past that you have been able to overcome, comment down below and let me know what's going on, and give us some advice for all the people who need it. So I have here Miss Lana. Hello. And she is gonna be with me here to talk about how to overcome. So, first question is, what is the biggest challenge that you have overcome in your life?
I feel like I'm in the midst of still overcoming.
Okay, elaborate.
One of the things we already talked about fear, so I would say is becoming confident and knowing myself. Overcoming not knowing myself, in a sense.
Okay. How does a person come to know their self? And what does that mean to know yourself?
For me, when I first started kind of I wasn't doing it intentionally. Like, let me get to know myself. It was like I started taking time, like, okay, I'm gonna just go through it. I started taking time with myself a lot. And like when I first started like my first workout journey, it was like, and I was fresh out of college. Out of dropping out. Okay, so I was fresh out of college. I was with my sister at the time, and I had just started working and all this type of stuff. And I was like, I want to work out every day. Because I had noticed I was, body was not body, yada, yada. Yeah. And so I was like, let me start working out, whatever. And then, but as I started working out, I started looking at myself. Yeah. I know that's kind of weird to say, but it's like, I never seen myself in that kind of light before. It's like I was looking, I was like, Lana, you okay? Yeah. And all that type of stuff. Not in no conceited way, but it's just like I started seeing myself for real for the first time. Yeah. And then so I had a little job, so I used to go buy me outfits and put clothes on, and like I would literally just put my outfits on. I didn't have nowhere to go. Yeah. And just go sit outside. And most of the time, like I had not no tripod like this, but I had the tripod and a Bluetooth clicker. And I would literally go outside and just take photo shoots of myself and just be like realizing myself, like, who are you? Right. And stuff like things like that. Like it wasn't intentional at the beginning, but then from there, it's like most people say it happened from the inside out. But for me, it started when I actually started seeing myself. And it's like I started going inwardly, like, started loving myself and finding qualities about myself. It's just an everyday journey, really, still.
Okay. So would you say that for a person to start to get to know yourself, you need to be alone and have time to yourself, or is that like a big factor as far as getting to know yourself?
I feel like that's a giant factor in getting to know yourself. You don't necessarily have to cut yourself off from the world and don't talk to your family and don't, but you have a place of solitude, really. Okay. And like cut off your phone for a day sometimes and just be with yourself. And because like it's hard to be with ourselves these days, especially like when we're getting distracted by our phones or we got to go out and all this type of stuff. Just sit down with yourself in a quiet for like 30 minutes and see what thoughts come to your mind. Yeah. And like see like what is going on in my mind. Like take inventory of yourself in a sense. Yeah. Like you were saying, becoming self-aware.
Okay. So I feel like that's definitely one of the biggest factors. And do you feel like a lot of people know how to be by themselves? Like what you're saying is just like being with yourself and sitting there and noticing your thoughts and just being. And that sounds so simple, but why doesn't everybody do that then if they want to get to know themselves?
I feel like because simple as the fact that we have cravings for like as humans, we crave other humans. Yeah, connection. Like, even in the beginning, like in the Bible, God said it's not good for men to be alone. Yep. So therefore, He created Eve for Adam. Yeah. So that's just a natural human tendency, right? But I feel also in order to better yourself for the next human, you gotta be able to be with yourself sometimes and just bite the bullet because it sucks. Yep. Sometimes it sucks. Okay. You're not gonna like it. Exactly. But you gotta bite that bullet.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. So get yourself alone. So that's the first step. Mm-hmm. Notice your thoughts. Notice yourself. Open your eyes up to yourself. And what do you think is most important to notice about yourself, or like what? Because it's kind of like you need to change your perspective about yourself. So besides being alone, how else do you change your perspective? How do you really see yourself? Like, how do you change your thoughts about yourself or get a new perspective?
Okay. I'm going to answer that. Before you say that, before you all right, that was a good question. But before you say that, also before even getting along, just sometimes find you a hobby or something that you like to do. Like I started, like it wasn't intentional for me to work out, but that time I was working out, it was just like a time where I was just working on myself. Yeah. I didn't look at it as self-care, but it was a form of self-care. Yeah. It was just a time where I was just doing something, a hobby. Find you something you like to do. Go walk in the park or something. Okay. And then you start getting along gradually, but how do you start looking at yourself differently? I just talked about this not too long ago. It's just you have to renew your mind, renew your thoughts. Okay. And it's just like in the way you do that, it's just completely repeat, and rehearse the things.
Who you want to be. Practice who you want to be.
Yeah, basically. In a sense. Mm-hmm. Okay. And yeah. And you said what was the most important thing to notice about yourself?
Yeah, or like what should... I guess it depends on the person. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
I would say you go ahead and finish.
Or I was just gonna ask, why do you think some people are better or like more easily ready to know themselves, or why do some people know themselves? Mm-hmm. Like maybe when they're young, some people find themselves when they're in high school, and why do other people it takes so long, or they may never really know who they are on the inside. Why do you think that is?
Because one of the things I would say, like answer to your first question, one of the things you got to notice, I think you don't look for a specific thing. You just notice you. And in noticing you kind of notice your patterns. And I feel like that's why a lot of people don't get to the point of knowing themselves, because we're on autopilot. We just live and live and live. And we're not really taking inventory of like what's happening over here, or why did I react that way? But you keep reacting to the same way, to the same thing over and over and over. Exactly. It may be in different situations, but it's still the same. You're still operating off autopilot.
It's insane. Mm-hmm. Insanity. Mm-hmm. Do the same thing over and over.
Mm-hmm. We haven't like stepped outside of ourselves and been like that. let's interject right here.
Okay.
And let's work on this. I noticed I got this going on. So when it happened, let me just pause before I react. Or sometimes you might react and go and yell at somebody, and then after you be like, dang, I just did it. Yes. And the more you become aware of it, the more you'll kind of try to
interrupt the pattern.
Exactly.
Yes. Anthony, I have one of my favorite books by Anthony Robbins or Tony Robbins. Anthony Robbins or Tony Robbins wrote the book Awaken the Giant Within.
That sounds interesting.
Yes, it's one of my favorite books, and he talks about repeating patterns. And when you're in a pattern, sometimes in his sessions he does pattern interrupts. So there was this one woman who came to one of his sessions, and she was addicted to he was addicted to chocolate. It was a guy, and so the first day that he came, Anthony Robbins had him. Or it was for the audience that he was demonstrating. He had the guy, everybody in the audience or whoever had chocolate would give him chocolate. So he kept eating. He loved chocolate. He was just addicted to chocolate. But after a while, he was starting to get sick. And so this guy would usually eat chocolate, whenever he could. But a lot of people were giving him chocolates more than he was used to. And after that, he didn't want chocolate anymore. So kind of finding a way, that's one example, but finding a way to interrupt your patterns. If you know your patterns and be aware of them, then you can try to interrupt them or think of ways to interrupt. So with things like yelling, when it comes to children, my daughter Aubrey, sometimes if I'm irritated or just whatever she may do, I might react, like you were saying, and just becoming aware. Before I do that, I'm breathe instead, or say something silly, or be I don't know. Use humor. Humor is one of my favorite ways to interrupt patterns. So I'm it puts me in a good mood, and it stops me from doing something I probably regret doing later. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
I would say I feel one of my biggest patterns, was I don't feel I've been put in a situation to actually test my growth out in it yet, but
not yet.
One of my biggest patterns I feel I had, even from when I was a kid, was running away. Because I had an option to go between my mom and my daddy. But my mama did something I ain't or something like that. I got in trouble, and I'm living with my daddy. My daddy, okay, I'm living with my mama. Okay, mama okay, I'm going back to my daddy. But then it kind of started taking, it was a pattern inside of me, so it also went into my relationships too. It's you doing okay, deuces.
Yeah.
I had a pattern of running away.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of patterns. Some I probably still ain't discovered, but
okay. Yeah, and we all do, and I struggle with that same thing, running away. When I was younger, me and my siblings would visit my dad every other weekend. After a while, that had stopped, and it was just staying with my mom, and me and her have never really gotten along. So when things got too chaotic, I would do the same thing, just kind of run away, and I feel I definitely took that into relationships too. And you don't really know it. You're just trying to do whatever in the moment you feel you need to do. You either react, you fight, flight, or freeze, or you decide to do something better instead. So, yeah, I definitely struggle with that same pattern. And change is hard. It really is hard. That's why self-help is such a big industry, I feel because everybody wants to be able to change and, be better people. But change requires pain. And pain is something that most people don't really like to deal with. And so what would you say towards that as far as changing and the pain or discomfort that may come with starting to change or wanting to change, but it's hard?
I would say commit to yourself. Make the commitment to yourself, and then start walking into that commitment. And then the thing about that is, of course, I'm speaking from my now. It's not comfortable. It don't feel good. Sometimes it sucks. But it's like you have to be committed to seeing the best of you, the highest part of you, the best, your greatest. I want to see the greatest me on display before I leave this earth.
Yeah.
And so it's like you got to commit to that and like look forward to that. And it's also just commit to that growth and knowing that it's working you. Like you're learning, you're growing, and you're becoming.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And I'll also say just enjoy it as you go along the way. Don't just try to get through it or avoid it.
Yeah.
Enjoy it as you go along the way, because it might start off hard. It may start off sucking, but you have to, you can't walk through life like, I don't like where I am right now. I just can't wait till I get to the other side.
Yeah. You're just always waiting for the other side.
You have to, I feel like that's the best thing you can do is just take it as it comes.
Yeah.
And that's how you grow as well. Because I feel like as humans, we always try to get past the pain, get past the hurt, get past, avoid it.
Yeah.
And all this, but you have to take it as it comes, or else if you don't take it on and be like, okay, this is what I'm under right now.
Yeah.
You're going to fall. The next time you get in the same situation, you're going to fall at the same spot. Or when next time when it's ready for time for you to like get in the space of growth and change, you're going to keep falling at the same, you're going to keep failing the same test.
Exactly.
So don't try to avoid it. Take it on.
Take it on. Don't be afraid to take it on. Because I feel like oftentimes when you do decide to take on that fear or pattern or whatever it is, so usually you find that you're a lot stronger or smarter or whatever. You're better than you think you are, and that negative you, once you start to have some accomplishments in this area or you start to see results, you start to think differently. That's how you start to think differently and change that mindset about who you are. So
yeah, so it's just like you said, change requires pain. Change requires discomfort. Change requires inconvenience. Change requires a lot of things that we kind of don't take into account before we're like, okay, I'm going to become this new person. So,
yeah.
And then we start getting hit with stuff like, man, I'm lonely right now. Or, man, it's just like, but change, that's just a part of change. But it's going to all be worth it when you make it to the other side.
That made me think of fresh starts. Like, I used to be all about the new year, new school year. Anytime there was like something new going on, I'd be like, okay, this is gonna be my fresh start. I'm about to be doing this. I'm about to be a new person. And usually it starts off good. It starts off, school years or whatever, new year. You're like, oh, I'm motivated. And then when things get hard, then comes like the trying to run away. Okay, maybe this was not what I wanted to do. Okay, I don't really like this anymore. Even though like you may actually enjoy doing the thing, you just don't enjoy maybe the work that comes with it. And so it's like, can you stand the rain? Exactly. Can you take the good and the bad? The sun and the rain? Yeah, you got to be able to take both the good and the bad. And that's something I'm definitely working on for sure. Because I feel like maybe I have like an idealistic view maybe of how people should be, or like, I don't know, once things get hard, you just kind of like, you don't want to deal with it, and after a while you just realize you don't really have anybody else around you because you didn't want to deal with or accept all parts of them. You just wanted only the good parts, and then none of the stuff you don't really like. And it's like, well, maybe you need to adjust or compromise at least.
And then we get into something different now.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Because I was just going to say, I can relate to that as well, because I used to be such a black and white person. Like, it wasn't no gray in between. It's like, it's either this or it's that.
Yeah.
But as you grow and have more experiences and start to have more than a black and white view of yourself, because it's also how I view myself, caused me to judge myself a lot as well.
Self-judgment.
Yeah, and it was like, I had such a black and white view of like, if you're not this way, then we can't function together in this relationship, because you ain't over here yet.
Yeah.
You probably in the grave making it up, but you're not this yet. Because I just had such a black and white view of life. But we know that's not it now.
Not at all. There's layers to it.
Yeah.
There's layers. Yeah, I feel that for sure. I feel like that's partly something that I was conditioned to think a little bit. Also,
I would say the same for me.
Yeah. Yeah, because I just didn't know. I didn't like really put myself out there with people, so I didn't really know that it's both. It's not just all these good qualities. You know, people do things that is going to irritate you. That doesn't mean that they're a bad person or that you shouldn't be around them. There could be a specific reason that they may act like that, or it may not be people. It could be just anything. There's like more to it. There's always more to it. It's like you can never assume. You just gotta have an open mind and be willing to accept whatever's presented to you, whatever you see or experience or hear. It's like there for a reason. So just try to like look at it with an open mind. I guess look at people with an open mind and try to like question. Okay, I see that they doing this. I don't really like it, but why? Why are they doing this? What does this mean for them? Maybe there's something to it. I guess.
Yeah, actually talk to them about it. It's like, why you, like, what's going on right here?
Yeah.
Like, when you do this, like, what is actually going on with you?
Yeah.
It's like, and don't be, I had to learn this. Still learning, to be honest. Like, you will never be done learning. And then that's another thing. Going back to the change part. It was like today, I forgot, it was something, was it today that something, oh yeah, today something happened about the situation. We were talking about talking to people about the situation with the girl across the street. I got so down on, like, when my mama told me that as I was walking out the door, I was like, I got so down on myself. I was like, why didn't I say nothing?
Yeah,
when I had the opportunity, like it, like I literally, like I was feeling it. It was like I felt so bad.
Like it was not your fault, but that you could have helped in some way.
Yeah, it was like I just felt so terrible.
Yeah.
It was like I gotta find a way to get myself out of this so I can get through the rest of my day.
Right.
But it was like, but that's part of change. It's like you realize that, hey, I thought I was a little bit bolder now. I thought I could just go up and talk to people now, but I'm still working on that area.
And
and it sucks, but at the same time, it's like, okay, now I know.
Now you know, Yep. Yeah. And I want to touch on that too. I mean, a little bit. As far as like when it comes to making changes, know that it's not going to be, everything is not going to be exactly how you expect it. Or like, even though you're making these changes, know that you may go back a few steps, or maybe not go back, but just you may sometimes make the same mistake or do something that you did before that you're trying to change, and know that's okay, because at least you're willing to keep trying to change that pattern. Eventually it'll get better. Don't expect to have it all together or like be able to do it every single time, because at least you're still willing to, okay, I'm aware of this and I know I'm working on this, so I'm not going to let that affect me, I guess.
And it's annoying. It's like, very annoying.
Come on, self, get it together.
Exactly. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
But it's growth, though.
Yeah.
Growth is annoying sometimes.
Growing pains.
Yes.
I be like, this, Lord, can you just maybe speed up the process a little bit? Because like you never just have like something in your mind. You just want it to just be how you see it, and you don't have to just walk through all this stuff. You're like, I see in my mind, I want to manifest it right now. Why can't I just see it right now? And it can be kind of discouraging a little bit when you can't just.
It's not there.
It's not there. Yeah.
It's like, God, just give it to me. I'm willing to keep. I'm
ready. I'm receiving.
Yeah. What else do you want me to learn?
Yeah. Have I not learned to pass this test, Lord? In the last grade, last season? Lord.
Exactly. But I'm enjoying it, but at the same time, it's annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, definitely enjoy it. That's why when I recently, I used to want to like work out more, especially have more energy to play with Aubrey and just go through my day. So I'm getting a little bit older, so I ain't got energy I used to have. I mean, I still got a little bit of energy, but it's not what I used to have. So I wanted to start working out, and I could never really stick to it. But recently I started doing Zumba or hip hop fitness on YouTube with Mike Peel, and it was fun. I was like, okay, and I've been doing it a couple weeks, or I'll do some stretching or whatever. Yeah, because it's fun, and I used to dance, so it's kind of like, it's my way of fulfilling that goal. It's not like how someone else would do it. They would just go run or go to the gym. It's like my version. But if I enjoy it, then it ain't. And it's not really work. It's a hobby, I guess. Hobby work. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Like, people like to play basketball.
Yeah.
Or do sports. That's work, but it's a hobby.
Yeah. Well, what is your last piece of advice for someone that really wants to make changes in their life? They're finding it hard to make the changes, or they may be afraid to make the changes. What would you say about change? I think that was the topic I started with. I don't remember. So.
I would say my last piece of advice, at first I said commit to yourself, but even deeper than that, find your a deep why. Like, why am I doing this? Like, why do I want this for myself? It's like, kind of like working out, for instance. It's like when I used to, like, my only why sometimes was like, I just want a six pack. I just want a six pack. And that would fade away. Like, I can eat this bag of chips. It'll be all right when I work out tomorrow. But, like, when your why gets deeper, okay, I realize, like, certain things running my family, and it comes from health issues. So I don't want this in my family. I don't want to be that. Like, I want to live my full life. So get a deep why.
Yeah.
And keep your why in mind. Like, stay focused on your why and stay focused on your goal.
Yeah.
So that would be my advice.
That's good advice. Know your why. I feel like that's one of a big thing that they say in the, like, self-help community and everything. Knowing your why and not worrying so much about the how first, but when you have your why, it kind of like it all comes together in a sense. And how would someone find their why? How do they, well, I guess you already said it, just knowing yourself, going inside, going deeper. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Know your why. Why? Because you gotta know why. All right. Cool. Alrighty. Good talk. That was like a real interview. I didn't know I was gonna have any questions. Cool. Well, thank y'all for joining this practice interview, and have a good Saturday.
Alrighty.